There's a certain appeal to Cold War technology that, well, really sets it apart from every other era of survival innovation. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't glamorous, it wasn't built to win awards or look sleek in a catalogue. It was built to work under the assumption that the world might collapse overnight. That urgency produced some of the most durable, long-lasting and relentlessly practical survival methods ever documented. Among them sits one technique that became a quiet staple of fallout shelters across the world. Something so effective and long-lasting that preppers and field engineers still use it today. It required no electricity, no moving parts, and almost no maintenance. And yet it kept shelter air breathable, controlled humidity, protected supplies from spoiling, and reduced the risk of respiratory sickness in underground spaces. If you value historical knowledge that still delivers in the real world, this is a piece of Cold War engineering worth learning in detail. The hook is simple. When people talk about Cold War shelters, the focus is often on radiation shielding, food stores, or blast doors. What rarely gets attention is how people actually stayed alive inside those shelters for days or weeks at a time. Fresh air was a constant challenge, especially in sealed or partially sealed bunkers. Ventilation systems were often unreliable and power failures were expected. So engineers needed a solution that would continue functioning even in a dead grid. The result was a brilliantly simple device that could be built almost anywhere, the Kearney air pump, usually called the KAP. And it didn't just move air. It cleared heat, lowered humidity, and extended the livability of shelters far beyond what passive vents or improvised fans could provide. The Cold War air-moving trick relied on a manually powered, low-tech ventilation system. The Kearney air pump wasn't a fan in the modern sense. It was essentially a lightweight swinging door frame covered with cloth or plastic sheet flaps. When moved back and forth, the flaps functioned like valves, pushing stale air out and drawing fresh air in. It required minimal effort, produced a tremendous amount of airflow, and could be scaled to any shelter size. The key was that the pump used human energy instead of electricity. Anyone from a strong adult to a child could operate it effectively. This made it one of the most reliable emergency ventilation systems ever developed. Fallout shelters around the world adopted variations of it because it could be built from plywood, hinges, tape, and basic fabric, materials available anywhere, even during a crisis. This ventilation trick did more than keep shelters comfortable. It prevented the silent killers of enclosed environments. In a sealed or semi-sealed shelter, carbon dioxide buildup becomes dangerous faster than most people realize. Even with multiple people breathing normally, CO2 can reach harmful levels in a matter of hours. Heat and humidity build up as well, raising the risk of dehydration and microbial growth. These factors can weaken a group long before food or water supplies run low. The KAP solved these problems efficiently. By forcing fresh air to flow continuously through the space, it kept CO2 low, reduced heat accumulation, and slowed the growth of mold and bacteria on stored supplies. Many post-crisis reports from civil defense agencies noted that shelters using manual air pumps maintained livable conditions far longer than shelters relying only on passive vents. This single device often meant the difference between a usable refuge and a suffocating dead space. You can still build a CAP-style system today using basic materials and a few straightforward steps. The design is simple but clever. You start with a rectangular frame made from light wood. The dimensions can be adjusted depending on doorway size, because the pump usually mounts in an entrance or hallway to maximize airflow. Stretch lightweight material, plastic sheet or cloth, across the frame. Then cut several long slits downward, leaving flaps that can open and close. When you swing the frame, like a hinged door, the flaps open on the forward stroke to let air pass through and close on the backward stroke to push air along. This creates a pumping action that moves a surprising volume of air with very little effort. If the shelter has more than one room, you can set up the pump at the main choke point to force circulation through all compartments. When operated for several minutes every hour, the air quality improves dramatically. Understanding how the pump works reinforces key principles of survival engineering. The genius of Cold War civil defense wasn't in advanced technology, it was in redundancy and durability. The air pump embodies this perfectly. It had no motor to burn out, no battery to fail, and no complex mechanics that could jam. It depended on convection principles and manual force, both of which remain constant no matter what the situation. This kind of engineering teaches you to prioritize what will still function in the worst-case scenario. It also teaches you to think in terms of air movement rather than temperature alone. Many underground spaces become dangerous not because they're cold or dark, but because air becomes stagnant. A simple air pump prevents that stagnation without relying on external infrastructure. Modern survivalists use this Cold War trick for far more than fallout shelters. Off-grid homesteaders use KP-style pumps to ventilate underground food stores. People with storm shelters adapt the design to prevent musty air and moisture build-up during long periods of disuse. In some wilderness situations, a smaller handheld version is enough to ventilate an improvised debris hut or snow shelter. Even people restoring historical bunkers rely on manual air pumps to clear stale air before work begins. The Cold War tool remains relevant precisely because it does not depend on any fragile system. When electricity is unreliable, when engine-based generators are too noisy, or when fuel shortages make powered ventilation impossible, the KAP stands as one of the few air-moving solutions you can always count on. This forgotten shelter trick represents the best of Cold War problem-solving. It is a reminder that survival engineering is not always about high-tech gear, but about understanding human needs and designing tools that meet those needs without failure points. The Kearney air pump kept countless shelters safe, preserved supplies, and sustained life in places where mechanical systems could not. Learning how it works is more than an academic exercise. It equips you with a tool that functions in emergencies every bit as well as it did decades ago. If this deep dive into Cold War survival ingenuity added value to your day, make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the video, and leave a comment. There are more forgotten methods from history waiting to be rediscovered, and your support helps bring them back into the light.